What's good, you guys? This your boy Lex, and I'm back with another react. We got MC LYTE reveals how Diddy, the butt monster, y'all know I always call Diddy the butt monster, bro, made Lauryn Hill disappear. Now, I don't know if Diddy I know Diddy got some power when he was out here. And he behind the walls, and he still has some power. But I never thought he had anything to do with Lauryn Hill off the scenes. But that's what we're here for. We're gonna get straight into it. I ain't gonna hold y'all too long, bro. We got a lot more work to do today. Let's get it. Spicy.
Of course, we all know Lauryn Hill was that girl back in the day. Grammy wins, critical acclaim, and the miseducation of Lauryn Hill on constant repeat, literally everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
So how did one of the most
Top
iconic
album
artists of her generation seemingly vanish from the mainstream almost overnight?
You know, all three members dropped solo albums. Lauryn Hill's album has the most success. But then she stops dropping albums. I mean, she had like the MTV Unplugged album, but she doesn't really drop a real follow-up to this diamond-selling album. You know, you guys are still close. Did she tell you why she stopped making albums?
She just felt uninspired.
Well, once again, the streets are saying that Diddy may have had a hand in this rise and fall. I know! Sounds crazy at first, right? But when you start connecting the dots, somehow Diddy's name keeps popping up in the background of artists who rose fast and fell even faster. We've heard whispers for years. Artists being blackballed, deals going sour, talent pushed out of the spotlight, and for many of these artists, Diddy is the common denominator. Baby, this list is long. From Day 26 to Danny D. Kane to once rising stars we don't even hear about anymore. So is it possible that Lauryn Hill is another name on that list? When it comes to Lauryn, whose career was deeply rooted in integrity and resistance to industry manipulation, could there have been a clash behind the scenes? Did her refusal to play the game put her on someone's blacklist? Was it her relationship with Wyclef while he was married? Was it her attitude and offensive comments towards white people? A lawsuit that drained her?
I didn't know that. Her and Wyclef dated while he was married. I couldn't even see Lauryn doing anything like that. Hey, you learn something every day, right?
A cult leader who pulled her away from everyone and everything. And most importantly, what does MC LYTE know? Because allegedly, she has also been talking behind the scenes about how someone, possibly Diddy, may have contributed to Lauryn being kicked out of the industry. Okay, guys, as far as whether there were any interactions directly between Lauryn and Diddy, well, there were actually quite a few. For starters, Lauryn Hill founded the Refugee Project, a nonprofit aimed at supporting at-risk urban youth. And Diddy was among the notable figures who served on its board of trustees. The two of them also headlined the 2023 Roots picnic in Philadelphia, where Diddy performed with the Roots, while Lauryn Hill celebrated the 25th anniversary of her album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Other than this, there's really no documentation of Diddy and Lauryn Hill. But now what I'm hearing is that, just like several other artists, Diddy may have been among those who made sure that Lauryn Hill was blacklisted. Well, if this is true, this might be one of the saddest things to come up about this entire Diddy drama, because Lauryn was a gem. I mean, I'm talking about someone who knew that she wanted to be a star at a very young age, and at just 13 years old, she decided to take her talents to the Apollo stage in New York City to sing the Jackson 5's Who's Lovin' You. Unfortunately, her nerves got the best of her, and as she struggled to get her act together, she was booed by the audience.
Wow.
Child, despite the horror, she did not give up. And while in high school, she joined a hip-hop music group, the Fugees, founded by her Haitian friend Pras. The initial members were him and a girl named Marcy, who brought Lauryn into the group. Then Pras's cousin and Wyclef joined the group around a year later. Together, they somehow managed to balance their studies while recording demos and landing pretty neat gigs, and 3 different labels even offered them record deals by the end of the school year. Other than her music, Lauryn also landed acting gigs like Sister Act 2 alongside Whoopi Goldberg. Well, at her peak, she also got into her first controversy, and she received a ton of backlash when rumors started circulating that she had made some comments about white people, saying that she would rather die or have her kids starve than have them listen to her music. Allegedly. Allegedly, that's one of the reasons.
Wow, bro. Nah, Lauryn, come on, Lauryn. I know you ain't gonna put that out there. Even if you had in the back of your mind, If you had thought that, bro, you should have known better not to publicly put it out there. That probably, if you did, that probably what killed your career. I wouldn't doubt
why
it.
Lauryn's career started going down the drain. But she did try to clear up the situation on Howard Stern's show.
No, I think that it was probably taken out of context. What I was saying is that I make my music for young black youth because I'm a young black youth myself, and there's a message in my songs.
Yes.
And that's for people who look and come from the same areas that I do. That doesn't mean that my music isn't universal.
So you don't mind white people? So you never said, I don't want white people to buy my music?
I mean, I'm not stupid. You know, I'm a musician, but I like to consider myself a businesswoman.
I mean, your manager's a white guy, right?
Yeah, he is.
Right.
So what was said?
But even though she was under a lot of heat at the time,
Hey, yo, Howard Stern, man, that was a low jab, bro. That was a low jab from Howard Stern. He set her up with the question. He said, so you don't mind if white people listen to your music, right? She goes, nah, I'm not stupid. He come back and says, your manager is a white person, right? Ah, man, like white power, for real.
the Fugees still took home 2 Grammys, including Best R&B Performance and Best Rap Album. But surprisingly, they disbanded at the height of their success. According to Lauryn's former manager, it had to do with creative differences, with Lauryn herself saying, I intended to be in the group forever, until I found myself in circumstances where I felt the inner desire to express myself, freely and openly without any constraint. Of course, this also meant that Lauryn had to go solo, and she was actually a force because her first album, Miseducation, was super successful and sold more than 10 million albums and won 5 Grammys. What blows my mind is this: Lauryn Hill was at the absolute peak. We're talking chart-topping hits, sold-out arenas, and a solo debut that's still considered one of the greatest albums of all time. She had it all. So how does someone that successful just disappear?
Beat
No
Michael
major
Jackson.
follow-up album, barely any mainstream collaborations, and an industry that seemed to quietly move on without her. It just doesn't add up, people.
It don't
How does
add
a
up, though.
cultural icon vanish when she should have been dominating for decades? Something or someone had to be behind that silence, right? Well, I know that New Arc Entertainment claimed they were not properly credited for their work on Miseducation, and they took Lauryn to court. The suit was settled out of court, with Lauryn paying them $5 million. But apparently, allegedly, the situation and the process left her so emotionally scarred. And because she was also under a lot of pressure to do better, Lauryn drifted further. As for what Lauryn herself said, she told Essence in 2009, I don't think I ever handled celebrity. For a period of time, I had to step away entirely. There were many temptations, enticements, entrapments, whether it was the dependence on image or just some false sense of security. I had to step away when I realized that for the sake of the machine, I was being way too compromised. In a different interview with Rolling Stone's Amazon Music podcast, 500 Greatest Albums in 2021, Lauryn explained further why she never released another full studio album. First of all, she started by saying, the wild thing is, no one from my label has ever called me and asked me, how can we help you make another album? Ever. Ever. Did I say ever? Ever. She also said that while Miseducation offered her the freedom to experiment, the pressure of putting out a sophomore album that would live up to the hype of the first was enormous. Adding, after the Miseducation, there were scores of politics, repressing agendas, unrealistic expectations, and saboteurs everywhere. People had included me in their own narratives of their successes as it pertained to my album, and if this contradicted my experience, I was considered an enemy. In addition, Lauryn also discussed numerous times how men and women are treated differently in terms of creative control and how that pushed her further away. She said that men can often say what they want without being challenged, while women face so much resistance for speaking about their rights, and she fought for the freedom to create and live without being threatened, controlled, or manipulated. Lauryn has also spoken out about other issues, including sexism, and the hypocrisy of the IRS, and all these things reportedly led to her being blackballed in the industry.
Because I think that what I've consciously decided to do is be patient and wait for those instructions again, as opposed to the instructions from the record company. You know, I can't, unfortunately, I can't fulfill their needs. You know, I can't, because it's devoid of all feeling, you know what I mean? I have to make sure that what I create, you know, I never want to condescend. There are a lot of people who condescend to the audience. You know, they just think, oh, they like anything, just throw a beat on it and put your voice on it. But if it doesn't move me, then I don't think it's worthy enough to put out there and move someone else. You know what I mean? Like it has to be something that is personally, you know, is something that I need personally. That's my barometer for whether or not it's good for the people, not...
Basically, just like many other artists who tried to fight for their rights, Lauryn was labeled as being difficult, not showing up, or being very late, which she actually was. Very, very late. Many, many times. And still expecting to get respect and that full paycheck. She actually got into more trouble when in 2012, she was charged with tax evasion for failing to pay $1.8 million in federal taxes. And in 2013, she served 3 months in prison for it. By that time, Lauryn barely had any music career, and it certainly didn't help that she had also developed a reputation as an unreliable performer who notoriously showed up late to concerts over the years. But if you ask Lauryn, she will tell you that this is what happens to people who don't play by the rules and fight for their musical rights.
You know, my concept of successful living is escaping the matrix, as we talked about, you know. It, you know, has very little to do with what people think success is. I actually feel successful right now, even though, you know, I don't have an album out or a video or a song on the radio.
Now, don't get it twisted. I know Lauryn had her own struggles. The pressure, the media, the battles with the industry, maybe even personal demons and mental health issues. That's all real. But what the streets are saying now, it goes deeper. There's growing talk that Diddy may have had a hand in her sudden disappearance. Not directly, but through the kind of influence that can quietly shut doors, cut ties, and blacklist someone without ever saying a word. And word is, people like MC LYTE have been hinting at this behind the scenes, that Lauryn didn't just walk away. She was pushed by powerful people who didn't like how loud her truth was. Okay, maybe it is a bit of a stretch. Maybe we're connecting dots that aren't really there. But ask yourselves this, does it really sound that far-fetched? In an industry built on image, ego, and control, would it surprise you if someone as powerful as Diddy didn't like what Lauryn stood for and made sure she paid the price? Just think about it. Artists don't vanish at their prime for no reason. And when you start looking at that pattern, who thrives and who mysteriously fades, it kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? Child, maybe we may need MC LYTE to be clear on whatever it is she knows. But meanwhile, let me know your thoughts on Diddy allegedly being involved in the disappearance of Lauryn Hill in the comments.
Wow. I wouldn't doubt it. I would not doubt it. It seems, bro, I swear, it seems like to me, bro, maybe it's just me and maybe I'm the only one, but I'm sure I'm not the only one. All the celebrities or the artists, right, that speaks their truths about what's really going on or how they feel about the wrongful doing in the record label or they go against the machine, they always fall off or end up missing or gets humiliated in public. It always, bro, it never fails. It never freaking fails, man. And it's never going to stop. The power that bees controls the artists. And the minute they go against what they want them to do, it's over. Look at it, bro. It's so many artists out here. Look at Nicki Minaj. She's going through it currently. She was once, now she's sinking. Now Megan Thee Stallion, the next puppet. It's wild, bro. It's crazy.